Liberty Mutual is in AWS. So tell us a little bit about why you chose the cloud to begin with.
Yeah, that's a great question. There's two reasons. I'm going to give you the first reason, and then you're going to say, what's the real reason? And that's number two. The first reason is that we had aging hardware. And the aging hardware was getting old and deprecated. We built our own private cloud. And so it was just the cost of maintenance and all of this. The ability to go to the cloud just seemed like a better idea.
So a decision had to be made.
A decision was made. Now, I'm going to be honest here. The reason number two is the real reason.
Okay.
Or one of the primary drivers. I would say that there's multiple drivers and forces at play. And yes, aging hardware is a reason to go to the cloud. But one of the biggest ones was the ability for us to scale and move quickly. So there's a project, and there's been a number of projects by large companies that deal with things like the autonomous driving car. And what really is interesting from an insurance company, that from that term of disruption that is always thrown around in the industry, the idea that when Google says we're going to self-insure our car, you're going to have every insurance company in the world with their ears perk up. Because if they can build a car that drives itself, that's got cameras and sensors all over the place, and it can replay any of those at any moment to prove that it wasn't at fault in an accident, then what's the need for an insurer? And if you've got other technologies like IoT, like a Nest thermostat or others that can then warn you that, hey, your house is getting cold, you might want to act on it before your pipes freeze, so therefore you have an insurance claim, you need to do something. So to be honest, the big primary, one of the drivers, and not the primary, but a key driver, was the ability for Liberty Mutual to move out of the traditional way of doing things and embrace different ways in the future. And the way we would do that and move rapidly and at scale and a global front is to go to the cloud, because that gives us the ability to try out new markets, try out new technologies, try out new concepts, and rapidly move. And we couldn't do it at the pace by which we were doing it before. It was like a backpack of bricks that we were carrying along, because it's mainframes and open VMS and all these old things. That to me, so it's hardware, yes, but really I think a lot of it was, as a company, we wanted to embrace all the benefits of elasticity, immutability, the ability to move quickly geolocation wise. I agree.
That makes total sense. But then sometimes, especially in more established companies, and maybe this is just my perception from some of the customers that I deal with, is the more established an organization is, the more hesitant they are about new things like the cloud. So how did you get past security concerns around moving to the cloud?
Great question. Let me show you my work laptop. So but there's a sticker on it, and hopefully you can see that.
Yes.
It says there is no cloud. It's somebody else's computer. And that I had that sticker for 5 years. And it was really interesting because we had a lot of our development community was just begging for the cloud. They saw a lot of the benefits of continuous integration, continuous deployment and delivery options, rapid scale to delivery. Like they looked at it with like huge benefits. And here's security, right? We're on the other side of the table. And so at their side of the table, they'd have these stickers that would like, I built my data center in 5 minutes. My other computer is an EC2, you know.
I've seen those stickers as well.
You've seen those, right? Yeah. And so you have like this, like, you know, very much that. And then on the other side of the table was all of security. And we're like, it's somebody else's computer, right? You know, and so from our point, right, as security professionals, the ability to know possession, right, is a key attribute.
Sure.
You know, if I can't attest to certain things. So there was some trepidation.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's very interesting, I like to tell people, was back in, we started looking at the cloud about 2014, 2015. And there was a key incident that had happened, a key event that really got us nervous. And I always bring it up and I say, how many people here, and I would ask, you know, my students or anybody this, I'd say, how many of you have heard of code spaces? And you see people start looking around like, I've never heard of code spaces. Well, you've never heard of them because they were murdered in the cloud. Oh. Because they were held ransom in June of 2014. Somebody got a hold of their master account and asked for a ransom. Said, hey, you're going to pay us. And the company refused. And so with that master account, they deleted their Amazon account. And in that account contained their backup, their code, and their data.
Oh,
And so the headlines at the time said murder in the cloud.
okay.
And it really highlighted this, like, well, wait a minute, we're going to this cloud. Does that put us in a position of an incident where recovery is not possible? Because we had spent years and decades building out full redundancy in our data centers. We had multiple data centers around the United States, around the world. And we had tape backups, and we've got offsite storage, and we've got warm and hot site capabilities and all this. And then you're like, wait a minute, if I'm going out to the cloud, I have to put a trust that's out there. And so there was some hesitancy from security. And a lot of it was just, particularly for myself and others, understanding what the cloud is.
Right.
This is the part that I think that really confounds people, because a lot of people think, oh, cloud it's anti-security. It's the anti-pattern. You can't be secure in the cloud. And I disagree.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, and I also disagree.
Yeah. I think that there are challenges and risks that come from operating in the cloud, like backup and recovery. But I believe that from some of the benefits of the cloud, that you have the capability of securing your company's infrastructure better than you could on-prem.
Thanks for watching. To watch more episodes of SecurityMetrics podcast, click on the box on the left. If you prefer to listen to this podcast, it's available on all your favorite podcast platforms. See you on the slopes.